This is a photo of me from 3 years ago. I was always tired, I had no energy, I felt unfulfilled, and like I was so far away from where I wanted to be. In the months that followed, I listened to hundreds of podcast episodes, read even more books, took courses to develop different skills, and had multiple conversations with people who were at the top of their game. So in this video, I wanted to share with you 5 of the most life-changing mindset shifts that I learned through it all and how you can apply them to your life this year. Number 1, the law of sacrifice. Newton's third law states that for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. So in simple terms, when an object pushes another object, it gets pushed back in the opposite direction equally as hard. So think about how birds fly. They use their wings, which push the air down. But because every action has an equal and opposite reaction, the air pushes the bird up at the same time. Although this is in relation to the law of motion, we can use this physics and apply it to the law of sacrifice. The law of sacrifice suggests you can't get something you want without giving up something in return. And there aren't any shortcuts to it. In order to get something you believe is of a greater value, you must give up something you believe is of a great value. Whether it's your time, your energy, resources, or any other pursuits, every goal we chase demands something in return that we need to give up. So for instance, if you want to take your side hustle seriously whilst having a full-time job, you can't complain that it hasn't worked out for you if you're only devoting 2 days a month to it. Whilst maintaining your social life, going out all the time, seeing your friends all the time, it will take sacrificing your social life to a certain extent to be able to get what you perceive as a better value. So now whenever I want something, I look at all the things that I need to give up and the sacrifices I need to make to pursue that thing. If it's worth trying, I will make those sacrifices. But if I'm not willing to make those sacrifices, then I can't expect to get that thing. Number 2, keep it simple. In almost all aspects of life, finances, businesses, energy, understanding the principle that 20% of causes drives 80% of outcomes can put you way ahead. And if you can grasp and apply this concept from the start, you'll be ahead of 99% of people. Because most people overcomplicate things. They think we need to know every single thing before taking action. We need to know every single fact, every single piece of information, all the data before making a decision. So let's take a step back and look at it in terms of a business. The 3 key numbers you need to pay attention to are your revenue, your cost, and your net profit. Those are the 3 numbers that I will look at on a monthly basis. And only if something is massively off amongst one of these 3, or something hasn't gone to plan, or it looks unusual, will I then dig deeper and look into each of these in more detail. But if I analyzed a fully fledged profit and loss statement every week, I can easily get caught up in the numbers and not see the wood from the trees and understand what is the bigger picture and what am I trying to do here. The same goes with your personal finance. We think that there is so much to it, but really the 3 numbers you need to know are what percentage of my income am I saving, what percentage am I investing, and what percentage am I paying towards my housing and transportation. Those are the 3 key numbers you need to know to then make a difference on the rest of your life. But most people don't even have a clue about what those 3 are. So keep it simple. You don't need to have a fully fledged bar chart, tables, thousands of numbers all the time. You just need to be aware of the 20% that drives the 80%. The third thing I've learned is that when making decisions, listen to the 8-year-old in you and the 80-year-old in you. So when I was making the decision to quit my day job in investment banking, I had a million different things running through my head. Who is this going to impact? What am I going to do? What happens if I fail? What if I can't even cover my basic need costs? And then I took a step back and I asked myself, at this present time, does the 80-year-old in me and the 8-year-old in me approve of the decision that I'm about to make? When putting yourself in the shoes of the 80-year-old in you, you're asking yourself, will I regret it if I try? Or will I regret it if I don't try? We've seen the research that shows that one of the biggest regrets of the dying is not doing something. They regret not having the conversation, not having taken that risk, not spending more time doing something rather than something that they did. On the other side, the 8-year-old in you reminds you to have fun along the way, that life doesn't need to be so serious all the time, and that you don't need to put so much pressure on yourself to have to get everything right. So now, to break through the limit I put on myself or the limits I think other people are putting on me, I make decisions that my future self and my 8-year-old self will approve of. The next most important thing that I've learned is that understanding none of it really means anything. There's a quote that I came across that is, climb the greatest mountain, achieve all the accolades in the world, become the greatest in your field, achieve fame, earn millions, and you will enjoy every bit of your journey if and only if you understand that none of it means anything. Sadly, or maybe not sadly, and actually for good reason, nothing is permanent. And I've learned that if you keep anchoring your identity to what you do instead of why you do it, you start to create this false sense of importance and attachment to it. And pinning your self-worth and building attachment to something that can be taken away is a pretty dangerous territory to be in. So applying this to what I do now, instead of anchoring my identity to the fact that I have a social media presence, I would anchor it to why I love doing what I do, which is taking complicated stuff, simplifying it, making it accessible. The universe can't take that away from me. It can take away my social media presence, but it can't take away the bit that I love doing. The same way, maybe if you work in a clinic as a pharmacist or a dentist, for example, it may be that the bit that you love the most is the human touch of what you do. That is the part of your identity that you can embrace through the other things that you may want to try out. That bit is something that the universe can't take away from you. When you do this and anchor your identity on what you love, you realize that nothing owns you. You can learn to enjoy and love the phase that you're in, whilst also being okay to walk away and move on to the next chapter whenever that time comes. When you stop learning, you're going backwards. One important thing I've learned is that when we stop learning, we don't just stop moving forwards. We actually start moving backwards. We regress because everything around us keeps changing and growing. So if you don't change and grow too, we're actually falling behind. And this lack of progress and improvement and personal development gradually sets us back. As well as learning through books, podcasts, people, one of the ways that I've continued learning is through using Brilliant.org, who are very kindly sponsoring this video. Brilliant.org is a super good online educational platform that has courses in maths, courses in data analysis, computer science, programming, and so many different things that are foundational to your learning, whatever field you're in. Most recently, I've been loving their Exploring Data Visually course. The lessons in that help you get a really solid understanding in data analysis with different visualizations and data transformations. There are also different interactive exercises and different quizzes and exercise built within it that teaches you to apply the knowledge that you're learning. I've been looking for ages for an online platform that can explain complicated things that I need to learn in an interactive, digestible, and an engaging way. And so I'm super happy I've come across Brilliant. If you want to check it out, you can get a free trial by signing up using the link below. Understand what the course is, check them out. And if you do enjoy it and want to continue, you can also get 20% off of your subscription as well using the same link, brilliant.org/Nischa. So those are some of the lessons that I've learned this year that have had a huge impact on the last year and that I'll continue taking on with me into the next year. Thank you for watching and see you next year.